take a look at what the Wall Street really did and what kind of handover we had on our hands when it comes to Wall Street. Then, of course, you did have JP Morgan and Wells Fargo that kicked off the third quarter earnings season, and that is something that we were looking at. There were early signs of a recovery in banking profits as well, and you do have US futures that are easing ahead of those key earnings. So that is the kind of move, at least when futures are concerned, so flat in overnight trading with key corporate earnings on deck. And that is what we're looking at. But despite the market climbing to new heights, of course, investors are remaining anxious against a backdrop of a closely contested presidential election in 3 weeks as well, and suddenly rising treasury yields, along with the uncertainty that we've seen recently about the pace of the Federal Reserve policy easing, as well as easing geopolitical tensions in the Middle East. So those are really the factors that we're looking at. Now, of course, the S&P 500 has gained nearly 22% this year, excluding reinvested dividends as well, and treasury yields, like I mentioned, have risen lately too, with the benchmark 10-year note yield also topping 4.1% last week. So that largely is the kind of move that we saw coming in. On the data front, of course, you do have September retail sales as well as September industrial production figures. Those are what we're looking at in terms of what to watch out for this week as well, and that largely is the kind of move that we're looking at. But let's also take a quick look at what oil prices then did. Priyanka, what is the handover when it comes to that?
Morning, Shreyansi. Shreyansi, this week is going to be a very result-heavy week. 145 companies of Nifty companies are to report numbers, and the major ones like Reliance, AGNC, and so is the scenario with US markets also. But talking about the crude, of course, there has been a lot of movements, of course, ever since the Iran and Israel tensions has escalated. Crude has jumped nearly $7. Now, the crude is nearly $78 per barrel. It has risen more than 3% on conflicts as well as the US storm. That is also one of the key data point to be noted. $78 per barrel. WTI is near $74. So these are the key indices, which key factors, key economic indicators need to focus on. Oil prices nearly stable, $78, and it has risen nearly $7 from 27th of September. But then oil traders are very closely tracking the Israel and Iran developments. That's the key area to look at. 9% in October itself, Brent has risen, and majorly on the supply risks.
There comes a time when your heart calls for you to arise. Plant your feet solid into the ground. Decide your own limits, and then break right through them. Become something more. It's my time to rise.